Here's one that I just really wanted to get in before I went about my business here. I thought about it earlier when I was doing another vlog on retail about margins and retail prices in the juice business, etc. That was vlog number 6. This is number 7. And this one is a little technical, so I'm going to have to refer to my notes to make sure that I get everything on record here. So the subject matter is same-store sales growth, which is a term that investors love to use and love to look at when they're talking about, I guess, anything in the world, but especially in the retail sector. And the first time I heard this, I think, was at a board meeting for Juice Press, and the co-founder of Home Depot, who was on our board, great guy, Ken Langone. Thank you for all your support and all of the great teachings. He actually asked me, he said, how's your same-store sales? And I just stood at him. I was like a deer in headlamps. I had no idea what he was talking about. But when it was explained to me, my old school retail merchant brain kicked in, and I sat down right after the meeting and I wrote a paper on same-store sales growth, trying to figure out what are the things that actually can affect same-store sales growth. And when you have that list, which I should take this entire list that I have here, and I'm going to paste it into the description of this video so that you can look at it more carefully. So bear with me. Obviously, these are not mainstream videos. These are for a select few people in the world who care about retail, probably care about the juice business, and care about whatever I have to say. So quantifying the factors of store flat sales and same-store sales growth. Well, the first thing is I would say is that visual representation of each store's unique or common negative, flat, or lack of sales growth problems is very important in this process. So the first thing that you have to do is evaluate whether or not your sales are flat or if there's a loss due to interest in a specific category. So the first thing that it brings up for me is that when you're actually designing your business model, you've got to know your categories. Business has smoothies, has soups, has juices, has popcorn, snacks, salads. Are there retail items? What are all the different categories? When I started in the business, juice cleanses was its own category because obviously it was in the juice category and you look at it in that way, but it was a special category because that was a great high ticket item that saved the day when people would come in and buy 3, 4 bottles, 6 bottles of juice at a time. Back in the heydays of juice cleansing, people were literally, you had to explain to them that juice that wasn't pasteurized or HPP'd, that it would spoil because customers would come in and they'd want to take 5 days worth of juice at one time. And that sale could be a couple $100 sale, but you had to get people to come back because they can't take all that juice at one time. So in evaluating same-store sales, you have to look at whether or not the category is dying, whether it's a flat category. When you're building your business model, it's better to have 10 categories that represent 10% of your sales versus 3 categories that represent 33% of your sales each. Because if one category goes away, you're practically out of business. Because what business with such a tight razor-thin margin could handle a 33% reduction or a 20% reduction in sales? Not many. So the first point is foot traffic. We have to focus energy on how to increase foot traffic to any particular store that you have. So besides having foot traffic and picking stores that have good foot traffic, you have to know the demographic of the people that are walking by. If I opened up a juice bar next to a football stadium where for the evening 60,000 people loaded in there, I don't care that the 60,000 people, I assure you that no one there wants a bottle of juice. People are going to a game, they drink beer, they eat hot dogs. Come on. Foot traffic, yes, but the right foot traffic, absolutely not. So opening a juice bar in a place where nobody has interest in the product that's a very risky game. So you have to assess for your town, for your zip code where you're in, is where is the right location for that particular category? And what things can you do to increase foot traffic? Better signage, having more than one A-frame outside the store that says the right things to get people into the store. Your presentation, your storefront, what's on display when people look into the store and they see empty seats and they see one lonely staff person cleaning up, and there's no process going on, there's nothing exciting, nothing looks fresh, the lighting is coming from fluorescent light bulbs, the furniture is ugly. So obviously you're not making anything appealing to the guest. And in our category, which is different than fast food or a donut category, people are paying for the elegant experience, in my opinion. The next lever that people have to pull to increase same-store sales growth is just simply creating a price increase. So, if in order for you to survive in your business, let's just pick a percentage. Let's say every year you're giving everyone a raise between 3 and 5%, and each year your lease stipulates that your rent increases by 3%, and we can make some type of assessment that produce costs are not going to go down each year. They're probably going to go up a little bit. So by the time you're done, you're actually saying to yourself, I've got to be able to raise my retail prices by 3 to 5% each year or every other year just to actually stay where I was at in the first years that I opened. So raising prices is obviously one lever that you can pull to increase your same store sales, but it's not necessarily a great sign that that's what we have to do, because you're going to reach a point where you increase your sales, but you're also going to hurt your volume. Customers might say, oh, that's just too expensive, I'm not going to use that product anymore. So increasing sales is an easy thing to do on items that are underpriced or where people don't really shop by price, or they're not as price sensitive. When you're selling a $10 to $15 smoothie or a $10 to $12 juice, I assure your customer, no matter how wealthy they are, they're sensitive to an increase to $12.50. They're going to see that. And so the last resort is a price increase. They're inevitable at certain points, but you want to be very careful about pulling the lever. The most important and creative thing in same-store sales growth, and this is point number 3, is your product innovation. So if one of your categories is starting to slip, then that's where your innovation department has to sit down. And the innovation department can be you, your partner, your manager, your partner, your manager, and your head chef. But ultimately, your head chef has to be your head of innovation, because you guys have to sit down and figure out what products can we create that people are going to be interested in. If your sales in the juice category slip by 5%, where can you make that up? With innovation. Innovation is not just thinking of a new product that you can sell, although obviously that's a big thing. It's also thinking about ways to sell it. You take on the innovation concept by saying, let's look at our point of sale, our cash register, and improve the type of display that we have. If you could spend $5,000 to $10,000 building a perfect cash wrap that puts a customer in a perfect relaxed position facing the cashier, and everything at the register is clear. There's no clutter, there's no mess. You don't have scissors and staple guns and wires coming out from the desk, and it's just a disaster. The staff member's cell phone is there. All these distractions prevent a person from engaging in that present moment. So when a person stands at your cash wrap, you need their attention for the 25 seconds that they're there, because that's what you're relying upon to drive your business. Customers have to look at what is at your register on purpose. They have to look at the new products that you're offering. They have to look at any display signs that tell people a special or a new product that you're launching. And you have to have your pickup items that make a lot of sense. And that really varies from business to business. But a rule of thumb is just go to your favorite coffee shop, your favorite juice bar, your favorite restaurants that are doing, fast casual dining or fast food, even going to Starbucks and looking at how they do it. I would say that when I go to Starbucks, I've never seen 2 stores exactly the same. And they're a chain, and in a chain, the more same you can do, the less expensive it is to set up and train and maintain. So the fact that they have differences from store to store, what it shows me that there's no escaping that every store that you have is going to be slightly different, and you have to be adaptable to that. What can be The same is the concept, the structure of how you're setting up your point of sale. When you see it at Starbucks, you can see the items that they have right at the cash wrap that they're just constantly selling them all the time. They're items that people take because they say, yeah, you know what? I want that kind bar. I'm going to put that in my glove compartment because I'm working late. Or someone's buying a cup of coffee for themselves and the kids are waiting in the car and they know that, the kid's getting hungry and cranky. They grab a quick snack, they bring it in, they drink their coffee, they throw their kid a snack, they feel happy. And so you have to crack the code on that. And I'm bringing this up, and this should be another conversation, is what is this cash wrap supposed to look like? We should break it out into the categories that I've broken out the cash wrap into. I have, I think, like between 7 and 8 perfect things that have to be at a cash wrap in a food business. And every great retail operation has a similar structure that they're thinking about. Your pharmacy, there's a reason why they put gum at the register. There's a reason why they have chapstick. There's a reason why they have nail files. It's not random. Nail clippers. Home Depot, it's not accidental that they sell hammers, plywood, chainsaws, and right at the point of sale, they have coolers that have Monster Energy drink, Reese's peanut butter cups, because they know that the person that they're selling to probably skipped lunch and just needs some sugar and crazy carbohydrates to go back and work for another 5 hours without stopping. And they know that that stuff sells. And I guarantee you that when Home Depot decided to sell movie concession food and the type of stuff that you see at 7-Eleven, they did unbelievable things to their same store sales growth. So that's that. So point number 4 is the stuff that I think that we should be doing anyway, but certainly what we know is that doing some of these things wrong will definitely hurt your same store sales growth and make them negative. So when you're trying to improve your same store sales, you can't take your eye off of the fact that you need to improve your customer's experience. In the juice and smoothie business, the first thing that we look to do is make sure that when someone comes into the store, that it smells clean, it smells fresh, it doesn't smell like a mop, doesn't smell like cooking onions or the things that we dehydrate in a basement. The music has to be pleasant and cheery and positive. The staff really have to be excellent at bringing their attention to someone that walks into the door and saying welcome and hello and how are you. I mean, it's such an engaging thing to have your staff do, is to just recognize someone when they walk through the door and say, how can I help you? And when you don't do this, I guarantee you, people will get sick and tired. No matter how good your product is, they'll get sick and tired of feeling like dog crap when they leave your store because your staff doesn't look up, or the staff is not polite, or the staff really seems too busy to engage. And so that's something that we really have to be careful about. Now, there's always exceptions to the rules. If you're a soup kitchen and you have 19 soups and there's always a line a mile long, that's part of the fun. No one's expecting the cashier to engage for 5 minutes about your newborn baby. In fact, that would probably be a hindrance to the rest of the guests who are waiting online. So there has to be a balance in how you execute on the customer's experience. The idea is whatever you're executing upon has to fit for your particular store. And these are things that you have to design into the way you think about your store. So the 4 points that I covered really in depth here is improving foot traffic, price increases, product innovation, and improving the customer experience. The 5th one, which kind of falls under, it kind of falls under innovation and it kind of falls under maintenance, is that if your same store sales are slipping and you don't think it's because the category is slipping, you have to look at your overall experience and the overall experience that you're offering to the guest. It might not be good enough. Same store sales tend to slip, whether we like it or not, when a competitor opens up down the block. Could it help sales? Well, in some conditions it can. When you look at Chinatown in New York City, or in all the cities that have a Chinatown, one can say that the reason that all those restaurants exist is because they created Chinatown and lots of shoppers go, and then they try to pick their experience. And so in that case, competition helps the individual. But there are certain types of business where competition comes in, and I guarantee you're going to take a hit. Competition is not just competition for the product that you're selling. It's for the consumer's dollar. So if I open a juice bar in Midtown, which is lunchtime traffic, and my consumer, for example, is slightly agnostic, meaning they'll make a healthy choice, they'll have a salad and a juice because maybe they want to lose weight, or someone's complaining that they're not healthy enough, or they feel unhealthy, or whatever. They're agnostic in the fact that if the experience with you is too expensive, the staff isn't friendly, the music sucks, they're always out of my favorite product, the product gets a little boring, you're not innovating enough, then maybe that day they just decide not to come down for a smoothie and they order in sushi because they're lazy. So when you're in the food and beverage business, I'm sorry to say this, you're competing with everyone. You're competing with 7-Eleven, you're competing with a steakhouse. When you think like that, I think it's perfect. I think you have to think as though anyone selling calories to the guests in your area is your competitor. Obviously, someone selling the exact thing that you're doing is more of your competitor. I don't like to use the word threat, although I'm a competitive guy, and I would say that the guy on the other side of the ring that trained for the fight with me, he's definitely my competition. And so in your business, who's your competition? And what are they doing that's better? And what can you do to outmaneuver them? And it is definitely a game of chess. And don't rely on luck. Don't ever rest in the food and beverage business thinking that you've got the food and beverage beat, because it is the metaphor that I use to describe the food and beverage business is it's really not different than being a fishing boat captain, that just because your last catch was successful, by no means does that mean that your next day out at sea is going to be successful. All the elements that are out there, they're still out there. There can be a storm. Mechanics, the engine can break. Sailors don't do the things that they're supposed to. You might not find fish. And so every day is day one. Every day is your most difficult effort, and it never goes away. And in fact, I don't even know why I'm saying that that's the case for the food and beverage business. I actually think that's the case for every business. Every business is vulnerable to dissipating or the customers losing interest. There's never been a business of any kind that doesn't sort of slip away or need constant reinforcements and constant vigilance on innovation, customer experience, increasing foot traffic, etc. All right, well, I hope this has been helpful to you. I guess the next topic I'm going to talk about is the cash wrap. How to design one, how to make the perfect POS station. And I think that in the discussion of POS stations, I'm probably going to get distracted and talk about 5 other things. But I hope you're enjoying these, and I hope these are helpful to you.